Love doesn't always arrive to be returned. Sometimes it comes quietly, without warning, and stays in the spaces between words. She had never meant to fall in love. It happened slowly, in the pause between laughter and the way her chest tightened when she saw the other smile. She loved quietly, carefully, keeping it hidden because some things weren't hers to claim. The other woman's heart was already spoken for, already held by someone she couldn't replace, and yet she stayed. She watched, she listened, she learned to love without expectation, carrying a tenderness that was hers alone to bear. Even in silence, love could ache, and she had never known pain so sweet. Mornings always started the same way. She sat by the corner table of the cafe, fingers wrapped around a cup of coffee she barely drank. She wasn't there for the coffee. She was there for the warmth that filled the room the moment the other walked in. The bell above the door rang. There she was, hair slightly messy, eyes scanning the room until they found her. "There you are," came a soft, familiar voice. "You always say that," she replied quietly, a small smile tugging at her lips. The laughter that followed felt like sunlight spilling across a rainy day. "Because you're always early," the voice said, dropping into the chair across from her. "I like being early," she murmured. "It gives me time to prepare myself for you," she thought. They spoke about small things, work, the weather, stories from the night before. But it wasn't small for her. Every word, every smile, every gesture was a reminder that she loved someone who would never be hers. Her phone buzzed and the world shifted for a moment. She glanced down to see the name that always stole her breath. "Everything okay?" she asked gently. "Yeah, it's just Isabel," came the quiet reply. She swallowed, forcing a smile she didn't feel. "How is she?" "She's back in town. We're meeting later." She nodded. "That's good." The words tasted bitter, but she said them anyway. A hand brushed hers across the table. "You're always so supportive. I don't know what I'd do without you." She pressed her fingers gently against the touch. "I'm here," and she always would be even if the other never stayed. Night came quietly, the kind that made thoughts louder than they should be. She lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling, phone resting beside her. Every vibration made her heart jump, only to fall again when it wasn't the one she longed for. The phone buzzed at last. "I just got home. Sorry I disappeared." She stared at the words for a moment before typing back. "It's okay." 3 words, enough to hide everything. "We talked for hours," came the next message. Her fingers hovered over the screen. "You missed her," she typed. There was a pause. "A long one. I never stopped," came the reply. Honesty cut deeper than any lie. She pressed the phone to her chest, trying to still the ache inside her. The smile from earlier, the warmth in her voice, the laughter they weren't hers to hold. The phone buzzed again. "You're quiet. Did I say something wrong?" She exhaled slowly. "No, I'm just listening. You're always so understanding. That's why I need you." Need, not love. Her eyes closed. She typed back without hesitation. "I'm here," and she always would be, loving a heart that had already chosen another. The next morning, the rain had left the streets wet and shining under the soft glow of streetlights. She walked slowly, umbrella forgotten, as every step felt heavy with the weight of unspoken words. "You've been quiet today," came the familiar voice across the small cafe, warm yet tinged with concern. "I'm just tired," she replied, stirring her coffee without looking up. Clara reached across, fingers brushing hers but stopping midway. Is it because of Isabel? A bitter laugh escaped. Partly, mostly, because I know my place. I hate that, came the soft confession. I hate that it's always like this. Me too, she murmured. Hating it doesn't change it. They sat in silence, letting the quiet stretch between them. Outside, the city moved on, oblivious to the heartbreak contained in that small cafe. You're too good to me, the other whispered. You deserve someone who chooses you. I know, she said softly, letting the words sink in, tasting like ash in her mouth. But I'm not leaving. Loving you even like this is all I can do. Clara's gaze lingered, a shadow of regret passing across her face. For a moment, it felt as if this could be enough. But outside, the world continued, indifferent. And inside, she stayed, loving a heart that would never be hers. The next meeting was quieter than usual. The cafe smelled faintly of rain and coffee, and she noticed every little movement the way the other stirred her tea, the nervous tapping of fingers on the table. You've been distant, the voice said softly, eyes searching. I'm okay, she replied, voice careful, as if saying it too loudly would make the truth real. Clara hesitated, then leaned forward. Is it because of Isabel? A small, bitter laugh escaped her. Partly, she admitted. Mostly, because I know my place. That's not fair, came the quiet reply, tinged with guilt. You shouldn't feel like this. You deserve someone who chooses you. I know, she murmured, staring down at her cup. But leaving isn't an option I can bear. Loving you even from the side is still better than nothing. Clara's hand moved closer, hesitating just above hers. I wish it could be different. I wish I could choose you. You already have a choice, she said softly, almost like a warning. And you chose her. The words hung between them, heavy and undeniable. Outside, the city carried on, lights flickering against wet streets. Inside, time slowed. Every heartbeat, every small gesture became magnified, the brush of a hand, the softness of a glance. I can't promise anything, Clara admitted. I don't know if I'll ever be able to. That's okay, she whispered, letting a small, sad smile form. I never asked for promises, just your truth. That's all I need. A pause followed, long enough to feel like silence could shatter them both. And once again she stayed, not because it was easy, but because loving someone even impossibly, silently, painfully was the only way she knew how. The cafe was quieter than usual, the hum of the espresso machine filling the spaces between them. She watched Clara laugh at something on her phone, a warmth in her voice that once made her chest ache with hope. Now it only made the ache sharper. You've been quiet, came the familiar voice, soft and tentative. I'm fine, she replied, stirring her coffee slowly. I'm fine, even though my heart is breaking. Clara reached across, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear, fingers lingering just a second too long. Why do you hide so much? Because I don't belong in your heart, she thought. Instead, she gave a small, practiced smile. Some things are better left unsaid. Clara's gaze lingered, searching for answers she couldn't give. You deserve someone who chooses you, came the quiet confession. And she knew it was true, but leaving wasn't an option she could bear. Loving her even from the side, in silence, was all she had left. I'm here, she whispered, letting the words stand firm, even though they carried pain. I'll always be here. Clara's hand paused over hers, guilt flickering across her face. I wish I could choose differently. I wish... You already made your choice, she said softly, eyes fixed on the table. And it's not me. The silence that followed was heavier than anything spoken. Outside, the world moved on, indifferent to the quiet heartbreak in that small cafe. Inside, she stayed, loving a heart that had never been hers to hold. She took a slow, steadying breath. Pain lingered, sharp but familiar, and she knew one truth above all. Some loves weren't meant to be returned. Only felt, and she would feel it, always. The days blurred together, each one carrying the same quiet ache. She walked the streets, umbrella forgotten again, the city lights reflecting in puddles like memories she couldn't wash away. You've seemed distant all week, Clara said one afternoon, sliding into the seat across from her at the cafe. Her voice was soft, but there was concern there, a tug she could almost reach for. I'm just tired, she murmured, stirring her tea slowly, eyes fixed on the swirl of cream. Tired of hoping, tired of waiting, tired of feeling second. Clara hesitated, then reached out, brushing the back of her hand against hers. Is it Isabel? She looked down, swallowing the lump in her throat. Partly, she admitted, mostly because I know my place. Clara's gaze softened, and for a moment she looked as if she wanted to argue. You shouldn't feel that way. You deserve someone who chooses you. I know, she whispered, letting the words fall like a sigh. But leaving isn't something I can do. Loving you, even from the side, is all I can give. Clara's hand lingered, hovering over hers, hesitant. I wish I could choose differently. You already have a choice, she said, voice quiet but firm. And you chose her. The silence that followed stretched between them like a canyon, deep and impossible to cross. Outside, the rain had returned, tapping softly against the windows, a mirror to the ache in her chest. She sipped her coffee, letting the warmth soothe her, though nothing could touch the cold of knowing she would never be the one. And still she stayed, because loving someone even impossibly, painfully, was the only thing she could do. The evening air was heavy with the scent of rain. She sat across from Clara, watching her stir her coffee slowly, as if the warmth could chase away the tension neither of them spoke aloud. You're quieter than usual, came the soft voice, carrying a note of concern she could no longer ignore. I'm just thinking, she said, keeping her eyes on the cup. Thinking about everything I can't have, everything I shouldn't want. Clara reached across, brushing her fingers against hers. I hate that I make you feel this way, she murmured. I hate that it's always like this with us. You can't hate what's already true, she whispered, letting the words hang in the air. I can't be the one you choose. Clara's eyes softened. You deserve someone who chooses you, someone who can give you what I can't. I know, she said quietly, a bitter smile forming. But leaving isn't an option. Loving you even from the side is all I have left. A pause settled over the table. The world outside moved on, oblivious to the quiet heartbreak contained in this small cafe. Clara finally spoke again, voice trembling. I wish it could be different. I wish I could choose you. You already have a choice, she said softly, feeling the ache deepen. And you chose her. The words settled between them, heavy and undeniable. For a moment, Clara's gaze faltered. She wanted to argue, to promise, to change, but there was nothing left to be done. She let out a long breath, the first tear slipping down her cheek, unseen by anyone but herself. Some loves are never meant to be returned, only felt. And still she stayed, because loving her, even silently, even painfully, was the only way she knew how. The rain had stopped, leaving the streets glistening under the streetlights. She walked slowly, hands shoved into her coat pockets, feeling the chill seep into her bones. Every step echoed the ache she carried, the longing she could not voice. "You've been distant all week," Clara said one evening, sliding into the seat across from her. Her eyes searched, soft but worried. "I'm fine," she murmured, stirring her tea. "Fine. Even though every moment with you feels like a reminder that you'll never be mine." Clara hesitated, fingers brushing hers gently before retreating. "Isabel?" She looked down, swallowing the lump in her throat. "Partly, mostly, because I know my place." Clara's gaze softened. "You shouldn't feel that way. You deserve someone who chooses you." "I know," she whispered, letting the words settle between them. "But leaving isn't an option. Loving you even like this is all I can give." Clara's hand hovered over hers. "I wish I could choose differently," she admitted, voice barely audible. "You already made your choice," she said, firm but quiet. "And it's not me." Silence followed, heavy and impossible to fill. Outside, the city hummed with life, but inside, time seemed frozen, trapped in the ache of unspoken truths. Later that night, she sat by her window, phone in hand, rereading the conversation for the 100th time. She never stopped loving her, and I never stopped loving her, but it's not the same love. A tear slipped down her cheek. Some loves are never meant to be returned. She pressed the phone to her chest and whispered, "I'll stay, even if it hurts," because that was all she could do. Stay, silently, painfully, loving a heart that had already chosen another. The cafe was nearly empty, the soft hum of the espresso machine filling the quiet. She watched Clara laugh at something on her phone, the warmth in her smile a familiar ache. "You've been quiet all day," came the soft voice, hesitant yet tender. "I'm fine," she whispered, stirring her tea. "Fine, even though my heart is breaking again." Clara's hand brushed hers, a fleeting touch that sent a pang through her chest. "I wish it could be different," she admitted. "I wish I could choose you." "You already have a choice," she murmured, eyes fixed on the table. "And it's not me." Clara looked down, guilt and sorrow flashing across her face. "I never wanted to hurt you." "I know," she whispered, voice breaking just slightly. "And I never stopped loving you." Silence fell between them, heavier than any words could carry. Outside, the city moved on, oblivious to the quiet heartbreak in that small cafe. She took a slow breath, letting it settle in her chest. Some loves aren't meant to be returned, only felt. A final glance, a lingering warmth. Then she stood, slipping her coat over her shoulders. The rain had returned, gentle and soft, washing the streets in silver light. And she walked away, not because she wanted to leave, but because she had to, Because loving someone who could never be hers was no longer enough to stay. She never stopped loving her. But some hearts belong elsewhere. Some loves are never chosen, only carried quietly in the chest, whispering in the moments between laughter, in the spaces where hope once lived. She stayed in memory in small touches, in silent words that never needed to be said aloud. And though her heart ached, she walked forward stronger, quieter, carrying a love that was hers to keep. Even if it could never be returned,